At DevNexus 2024, our dear friend Jon Schneider from Madeira is here to talk. We need to show. Here you go. The ticker. Yeah, here we go. Now it's good. To talk about Commonhaus.
Commonhaus Foundation.
This is
That's
something that was. We heard a lot of noise in the last weeks, especially from our friend Andres Almerai, that was dropping hints here and there.
Yeah, something's coming. Something's going.
Yeah, exactly. Commonhaus is a foundation.
It's a new open source foundation.
It sounds very familiar to something we used to have 15 years ago.
Yes,
Commonhaus.
it does. Yes,
yes. Well, I guess that's kind of a something, but tell us more. What's going on? Is
Absolutely.
It like,
Yeah, so why another open source foundation, right? We have Apache, we have CNCF, we have Eclipse, etc. I think what we wanted was a home for open source projects that had a low governance requirement. Like, let's not control how we release, how we involve committers and so forth. It really has a focus on succession planning. And what I mean by that is this, that like the trademarks for these products will pass to the foundation. And so that if, if somebody decides to ever change the open source license on it, the fork of that, to change the license would have to be done by the company or entity that's changing the license. So we've been through this with Terraform, with HashiCorp changing the license on Terraform. The community forks the project, tries to rename it, tries to get name recognition behind that new project. That's
I don't think anyone succeeded in that except Jenkins.
It's so hard.
I think Jenkins is the only example when the fork is more successful than the project that actually closed the license and what's not.
Absolutely.
Right? So
the initial set of projects, right? The initial set of projects are Jackson, which is really important to the Java ecosystem.
Yes.
Hibernate, obviously been around for a long time. Open Rewrite, going into the foundation as part of Morphia, JBang, JReleaser, all going in. And I think we'll have some real exciting announcements on some other big projects joining in the next month or two.
So speaking about that, that would be very interesting for me to understand what is the interest of the projects to expose themselves to this limitation of their power, voluntarily give away the power of changing the license.
Absolutely. I can talk about it from our perspective, and being a co-founder at Modern, Open Rewrite is essential to our business. A refactoring engine, it's about migrating code, it's about writing recipes that move people from one thing to another. I do not want to create an open core company where some recipes are open source, some recipes are closed source. So we've always been very serious about Apache licensing all the recipes that we develop. But I think it's harder and harder for people to believe us that we're serious about maintaining a business model where the parsers and the recipes are going to be open source, not just now, but always, because our business model is not related to that. It's about distributing them.
Yeah, this is a very good point, because I think most of the companies that kind of switch their license in the middle, in some point of time, committed to remain open and open source forever.
That's right.
Until they didn't.
And so really we're kind of putting our money where our mouth is. We're donating the trademark to the foundation right now, so that later on, if I get hit by a bus and they replace me with somebody else, they can't pull back on that commitment.
I think that's the interesting part. So if you have someone at the government right now who's really committed to open source, they can cement this legacy.
That's right.
And be sure that whoever comes next won't be able to change this commitment.
Which means that the business is going to always have to drive towards a model that works together with the open source commitment, as opposed to going that different direction.
This is very cool and
really
makes tons of sense. It's also now to the other part that this foundation, as opposite to others, don't dictate other stuff that other foundations usually do.
Absolutely. Yeah, so, and I think, like, you know, I could have gotten the same commitment from the Apache Foundation, right, about the trademark and so forth, but it would impose a lot of, governance on me about how I do releases, how frequently, how many votes, how I do committers. And our project is still very much an active, often release. We release like every week new releases, so it just wouldn't fit the innovation cycle that's inherent to our project right now.
It will be too much ceremony around this foundation.
Yeah, which is actually fantastic for a lot of the projects in that foundation. That's how we want Tomcat to be. But Open Rewrite is a much more evolutionary thing right now. So
okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. So another something that we see a lot happening, especially for software projects which are not in foundation. There's all the stuff of abandoned projects.
Absolutely.
That at best just abandoned, but
Absolutely.
at worst being taken over by malicious contributors.
Exactly.
So this is supposed to fix this problem as well.
That's right. So that's part of that succession planning. That if, like, for example, with Open Rewrite, Modern ever really abandons Open Rewrite, maybe because we cease to exist or we just are not committed to it anymore, that the board of the foundation can pass control of the project to somebody else. One of the things about the foundation that I know, that's not as important to us and our reason to join it has also been about providing financial assistance to the maintainers of the project. So you should also have a talk with, I think, the Jackson author, Tatu, who's worked on it for so long, to the Hibernate authors, because I think that support that the foundation is providing them is more like individual maintainers is very important to them.
So this is also like a part of what Commonhaus is doing.
That's right.
And okay, so how does that work? Where the money comes from?
Absolutely.
Where the money goes to? How do you decide who earned what?
Yeah, the foundation just launched yesterday. So this has been about 24 hours. We launched it here at DevNexus. Aaron announced it yesterday. There are a number of press releases. In the first 24 hours, I think there's already a couple dozen GitHub sponsors of the foundation as a whole that are now financing the foundation on an individual level, and the foundation will take those proceeds and distribute them to the contributors of the projects that are participating in the foundation.
So it's basically a sponsor model.
It is.
And what the sponsors get?
I don't think we have all the answers for this. I mean, the GitHub sponsor program has often been a very, charitable exercise. It doesn't have a lot of return. But I think what Aaron and team are really trying to set up right now is a pretty wide advisory board for the foundation of 100 or 200 parties that have a real vested interest in, like Jackson is, like, of course, core to our the foundation of the Java ecosystem. So is Hibernate. So we really need those things to be stable on an ongoing basis.
Yeah, no, but we look at very charitable foundations like Eclipse and Apache.
Yes.
But we can also look at one of the very financially successful one, CNCF and Linux Foundation in general.
Yeah.
So there is a way to get this financial stability both for the foundation itself and for the projects in the foundation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is definitely the part that I think, the part that appealed to Modern in particular was more the succession planning, I think, and that's I want to make a strong legal commitment to the permanent open source nature of Open Rewrite.
Yeah. No, this is first of all, this is exciting.
Yeah,
we don't get a new software foundation with those level of founding members as this one. So it's big news in our ecosystem. Thank you for sharing that with us. We will look forward and we will look and see how it grows, how it evolves, how the projects kind of come in. And definitely, it's going to be great to see another very healthy player in our foundation's ecosystem with the pros and cons for each and every one of them.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
John, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
And stay tuned for more interviews in the Build Propulsion Lab at DevNexus 2024 coming up tomorrow. And we'll see you tomorrow.